Welcome to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer. Today's guest is Julie DeLucca-Collins. Thank you so much for being here. I am excited. To share with you, Julie. Julie is a #1 award-winning author of Confident You, a TEDx speaker, a top 50 over 50 podcaster, dynamic business strategist, and coach dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs to build profitable, purpose-driven businesses. As the founder of Go Confidently Services and Casa de Confidence Productions, she combines her expertise of successful C-level executive who has excelled in growing successful businesses to help clients develop confidence, build profitable businesses, and launch and grow podcasts while becoming an in-demand thought leader. So welcome to the podcast, Julie.
Hi, Peggy. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here. I'm excited for our conversation as well.
Oh, I am excited. And with that, can you just share a little bit more about yourself and your journey and how this led to where you are today?
Thank you again. This is such a fun question for me because it brings my entire life in my brain. And I think, okay, what part do I pick out of
Right,
everything?
right.
But mostly, the one thing that I love people to know is that before I got here, I was a teacher. I started as a teacher, a pre-K teacher, and then I worked with middle school students. And I left that I wasn't sure what.
Hmm.
And I was recruited by a national educational company. That company brought me on board to be the center director for one of the tutoring centers that they
Hmm.
ran.
Hmm.
It's a franchise company, but they also have some company owned stores, they call
Yeah,
them.
yep.
And that particular center that I was brought in to be the center director for was the lowest performing in 400 centers.
Oh, wow.
And that competitive girl in me was not going to have it. We had a conference in Atlantic City with the owners and all the big people within the organization, and they had an award ceremony. And I thought, these people are doing really well. They're making an impact on the lives of children. And I'm in last place. I don't want to be there. So I got in the elevator going back to my room and I'm thinking a lot about, okay, what's next? What's next? What do I do? And I didn't really have a plan. As I got into the elevator, the owners and the founders of the company were in the elevator. And of course, very intimidated. I
Hmm.
must have been like 28, 29 at the time. And I thought, just do it. And I said, excuse me, you may not know me. I am so and so, but I want to know, how do I get on stage next year? And that was the beginning of my career. That was the moment that I think that really defined things. Number one, because I was scared out of my mind, but I took that simple, confident step to speak
Hmm.
up and
Yeah,
ask.
yeah.
And the second thing is that from there, the reply that I got from the female founder, the wife of the couple,
Mhm.
is you need to create relationship with parents, teachers, principals, school districts, and you will be up on stage next year. Well, not only was I on stage, but I was one of the top three centers in everything, revenue, uh, students that we were servicing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And
Mhm.
I really have taken those lessons in throughout my career. Number one, that confidence is not feeling great about yourself, but it's really about taking the first brave move.
Mhm.
Second is that as I climbed the corporate ladder, the one thing that I kept seeing is that these incredible, gifted individuals, mainly women,
Mhm.
every time I got a new promotion, they would come and say, Julie, you're so confident. Congratulations. I wish I could do what you're doing. And the first thought that would come to mind is like, wait a minute, I am not confident all the time. I don't have it together.
Mhm.
And you are gifted and you can be doing what I'm doing. And
Mhm.
I know that there is a level of uncertainty for so many of us. I became very committed to whatever I was going to be doing, that
Mhm.
I was going to pour back into women around me so that they went in that own journey to confidence. They can achieve the goals and dreams that they wanted to. And
Mhm.
throughout my career, as I continued to climb, from director to executive director to VP to the C suite, I found that that was something that really lit my heart on fire is to help other women. Now, when I was laid off at the beginning of the pandemic, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to continue to help women.
Mhm.
And I started to work with women mainly in that career track who were stuck in middle management.
Mhm.
But the unexpected, Peggy, thing that happened is a lot of entrepreneurs came to me and said, you know what, you launched your business and you're doing well. What are you doing? And I remember I didn't start doing well right away as a business owner, but when I realized that I needed to run my business like a business,
Mhm.
it turned things around. And now I teach that to my clients as well to run their business like a business, to make sure that they take those steps that are necessary, right? To
Mhm.
be able to create an impact in the world with what they do, but do it in a way that is really consistently and helping them grow what they do.
Mhm. Mhm. That's awesome. I mean, what a wonderful, life kind of summary for you. I mean, what I've heard is a lot is like people looked up to you, women kind of turned to you and go, like, you exuded confidence, but like all of us, we kind of vary in our confidence on
Mhm.
probably a daily basis or within the day,
100%.
you know?
Yeah, I know.
And so, like,
For sure.
I'm like right there. It's like,
I'm
oh yeah, you
there.
can start off great, and then something can happen, and we're like,
Hmm.
it just plummets. But another thing that I heard was just relationships. You know,
Hmm.
people people could come to you and feel comfortable coming to you and asking those questions and trying to get information. And business owners or anybody wanting, we have to run our businesses like businesses.
Hmm. Yeah.
But underneath all of that, there's little things that we can do. Confidence, and I heard a little bit, there's some like consistent steps that we need to take.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I would go into habits with that. So where
Mm. My favorite topic, other
I
than
know, like
confidence.
habits and productivity and all of that.
That's right.
So,
Yep.
you take the lead here on,
Hmm.
because, from what I've talked about with confidence, relationships, habits and different things, just like where would you like to take the
Hmm.
conversation?
So you talk about confidence, and now let's put into the equation the habits. And I will tell you, my book is called Confident You: Simple Habits to Live the Life You Have Imagined. And the reason that I wrote that is because I think that people believe that confidence is you're born with it, right? Oh, I'm so great, and look at me, and it's not like that. Confidence is a result of the consistent action that gets you traction. Confidence comes from doing the thing, being a beginner, and then starting to see the evidence that if you consistently show up, you will gain the competency in something. And when you gain that competency, then that's when the confidence shows up.
Mhm.
And for myself, there are some habits that I found and that I incorporated into my life that definitely contributed to the level of confidence that I have.
Mhm.
And for so many of us, and many of us have read all of the habits books because that was me, Atomic Habits, The Power of Habit. It was so great to like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And I kept failing. And I thought, if I could just get motivated, if I could just motivate myself to do that habit, I'm going to, right, fill in the
Yeah.
blank.
Yeah.
And that struggle was something that I was in the middle of trying to kind of solve for myself. And it was 2021. My business had been around for almost a year. And I heard Dr. BJ Fogg speak. Excuse me. And Dr. BJ Fogg is the author of the book Tiny Habits.
Mhm.
He is also the founder of the Behavior Lab at Stanford University
Mhm.
and has been studying behavior design for over 20, 30 years.
Mhm.
And in the book, and in what he was saying, he said the one thing that all of a sudden hit me over the head, and that's motivation does not get you to do the habit.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? And the more that I started to deep dive into it, the more that I realized that motivation is something that leaves us.
Mhm. It's fleeting.
Motivation
Like,
ends
we have it some days, we don't have it some days.
for sure. And that's the unreliable, that's the variable that we cannot control.
Mhm.
So in the book, and I'm going to have to take a drink of water. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. I don't know what's going on. My windows are open, so I think the fall air might be getting to me. But the one thing with that motivation not being available to us all the time started to got me thinking, okay, I want to consistently show up. I want to consistently do this. But in my life, the habits that I've been able to create is not because I just went all in. It's because I practiced them, because I showed up. Now, in the whole science of behavior design,
Mhm,
what happens is if something is very easy to do and you are pairing that new behavior with an existing behavior,
mhm,
then you are able to then create that consistency. And the more that you do it, the better and more competent that you become, the more that that confidence is going to help you create that habit. There is a misconception, and Dr. Fogg talks about this, how
mhm,
it's not 21 days that you're doing the thing in a row. It's not 66. It could be 10. It could be 100. It all depends on you, but it really depends on the identity that you want to embody with the habit that you're creating.
mhm,
And that's why one of the reasons that in even working with my clients now, and whether we're talking about building a business or launching a podcast, is about creating that consistent action. And what does that look like? And when you create that consistent action, who are you becoming? Who do you want to become?
mhm,
Right?
mhm.
It's not
Right.
what I want to have. I want to have the money in the bank. No, I want to be someone who feels at peace because I'm financially secure. Right?
Mhm.
And I have
Right.
that freedom. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of how habits are created and designed. And I love to start, and this is my habit, drinking water.
Yep.
A lot of people don't think that it has anything to do in my business, but I'll tell you how the water hits. The using the formula that I just described, an
Yep.
existing behavior and pairing up with a new behavior.
Mhm,
Every morning I have to let my dogs out to go outside to go to the bathroom. So that's my existing behavior.
mhm,
And what I do is my water bottle is typically left on the counter next to the back door. And when I let the dogs out, that is my prompt that reminds me to do the new behavior,
mhm,
which is I fill up the water bottle. Now, most people think, oh, I'm going to fill up my water bottle and I'm going to drink that whole bottle. Mm-mm. All I am doing is I am going for the win of filling up the bottle. And once I do it, I give myself props. I celebrate that. I say, good job, Julie. You're a girl who drinks water every day. And then that identity in the brain starts to say, oh, I like feeling good. I need to keep doing that.
mhm,
That's how we create habits. Our brain creates these new neural pathways
mhm,
when we actually feel good. And the times
mhm,
that we beat ourselves up for not doing the thing, for not having, for not staying consistent, then we're actually hurting ourselves and not being able to create habits. But by having that small win, by
mhm,
being the girl who drinks water every day, then it puts me in the mindset that I can do this. And I come
mhm.
to my desk and I start to stack up all my wins. And that's the typical day in habit creation when it comes to myself and for my clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm hearing a little bit of like having to internalize like a new identity. Yeah,
Hmm.
it is not that like, oh gosh, I'd forgot to do that. And you beat yourself
Hmm.
up, but you really is just like, why do you want to do this? Like, who
Yeah.
are you becoming? Because a lot of us don't take that extra step to do that. We're like,
Hmm.
it's like an external thing. Like, I need to do this or I should do this. It's, drinking water is good for me, whatever.
Hmm.
But if we kind of externalize it, we're not apt to like really do it very often
Hmm.
and be consistent.
Yeah,
But if we take
absolutely.
it on as like, I'm a person that drinks water, you know,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then like, yay, I drink water, like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I filled up my water bottle, thank you. And it's
Hmm.
so easy once you have
Yeah.
it filled up to drink
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I actually, it's interesting that we're talking about this today because I have a podcast episode dropping and I launched a tiny, a mini podcast and it drops every day. And I give a 5 minute thought. And that's exactly what I talked about. How for some of us, we worry so much about the how, right? How
Mhm,
am I going to lose weight? How do I launch my business? Oh, how do I build that relationship? How? And we're so stuck and we want to have the planners and the color pencils or the right formula or the right 5 step
yeah.
whatever, right? but it's not the how. It is really about the why. Because when you know the why you want to do something,
Mhm.
then it becomes easier to do it, and you're taking ownership. The responsibility of doing it falls to you,
Mhm.
and you can say, okay, I didn't do it because I didn't have the right formula. No, I did it because this means something to me.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
it will be, the result of me doing this.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's really important in this habit creation,
Yeah.
also, is knowing the why. Like
Right.
you said, it's
Yeah.
not just about the how.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Because once we connect those things,
Mhm.
then it's like the light bulb comes on. I mean, and it makes it
Absolutely.
so much easier
Hmm.
to do. And this is where kind of, externalizing oftentimes brings out the excuses, like, you know, say, we're trying to get healthier, I
Hmm.
mean,
Yep.
there's so many different ways to
Hmm.
do it. They
Yeah.
all work
They all work. You
if you
just have to
do
do
it
them.
consistently. Right.
Hmm.
Everything works if we do it consistently. So we have to like shift our mindset
Hmm.
to bring in the why and internalize it. And once you have that part of it, it seems like it makes it so much easier to be consistent.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that for so many of us, right, we fall into the trap of that comparison.
Mhm.
And we may have a different why as to the thing that we're doing.
Mhm.
And if we allow ourselves to be driven by the values, if we allow ourselves to be driven by who we are and want to become, in not, hey, that person did it, I want to be that person.
Mhm.
Because we're never going to compare, we're never going to do it in the same way,
Yeah.
even if we're doing the same thing.
Right.
So it's very important to really give yourself grace and self trust,
Mhm.
because with the self trust you will get the self efficacy.
Yeah. With that, and then the confidence kind of,
Yeah,
morphs from there.
absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what are some other like, little hacks sometimes, that you use, habits, we can name a whole bunch of them.
Oh,
But I feel like
absolutely.
the mindset shift of internalizing it and, really embracing the why is really helpful. What
Mhm.
other kind of like little hacks can you like give the listeners about just
Yeah.
anything?
Well, one of the other things too that I discovered, and I discovered this in my professional career, and of course I carried it over, and now as a tiny habits coach and in
Mhm.
doing the work that I do with my clients, this is something that we also explore. And I'm going to say something controversial, but it's so true. Email is not your responsibility. Email is not your top priority. And for so many of us, we live in a world in which instant information, instant something. And we believe that, I send an email or someone sends me an email, I got to reply back or I got to go into that. And
Mhm.
as business owners, or even if you're in your career, I
Mhm.
want you to think about as email being the thing that sends to you somebody else's priorities. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, I'm not saying don't use email. I like email, I use it,
Right.
but use it strategically.
Yeah.
One of the things I teach my clients is we're not going to come to our desk and open the computer and jump into email, because the next thing you know, you're going to be down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then you're answering emails, or you got the notification that such and such went on sale, and now you're in that website. And then, of course, that sends you to something else, and you're down the rabbit hole. And then you look at your day as you're going to bed and you're thinking, I didn't get anything done,
Yeah.
right? These little things are the ones that are really robbing you of your productivity, of your time. So this is typically how I do email, and I'm going to give you my other hack too with email,
Okay.
because I'm just changing something too. But I typically don't open email till after I've started my day. I have two times throughout the day in which I check email. And the way that I will check email is I will set a 20-minute timer. I use the Pomodoro method, right? Every 20-minute intervals, I'm doing something, and I'm really going deep into focus. When I go and I open the email app, I scan it through and I check to see which emails I need to answer right away, which are the ones that are priority.
Mhm.
And then once I go in there and I open it, I read it, and if it's going to take me 3 minutes or less to answer it, then I answer it right then and there. If not, they go into a folder within my email that says to do. And then I allocate an hour later on to do stuff in the to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, again, we get sucked into doing the thing, and the next thing you know, you didn't accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm.
So really being strategic with how you're spending your time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the first time I tried this out, I thought people are going to think I'm crazy. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired because I'm not answering my emails. No,
No.
you're not. And you're not going to go out of business because you're not answering emails. You're just training people. You're setting boundaries that then people can understand
Yeah.
about you.
Right.
And with that, you are then prioritizing what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing as humans, I took such pride in saying this, Peggy, in my 30s. I was a star multitasker. And now I think, oh my gosh, Julie, you were ridiculous. You knew nothing. Um, but we do not, our brain cannot multitask. We switch task.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime, so if you're doing email and then you have the ding, or if you're working on a project and the dinging is on, then
Mm-hmm.
you're stopping that. You're going to go check that.
Mm-hmm.
And the human brain takes about 17 minutes to be able to get back into the whatever flow or concentration state.
Right.
So
Right.
now you're really, think about all those 17 minutes that you're pulled away from something that you were working on.
Right.
That's time that is being allocated or time that you're not using to the best of it possible
Yeah.
using.
Right.
So that's what I want to encourage you is, and you don't have to change overnight. You don't have to rework your entire life. Pick one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one thing that you want to work on.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to turn off the notifications on your phone,
Yeah.
or maybe you don't even want to turn them off, but maybe you want to at least be aware on a Sunday. Go in and look at how much time did you spend in every app in your phone. You're going to be shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you bring the awareness, is not to shame you and it's not to beat
Mm-hmm.
yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I was on Facebook for 3 hours. It's not that. I want you to just be aware,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
the awareness is the first step to
Mm-hmm.
start to shift. You can decide, do I want to be the person that sits on Facebook for all those hours? Or do I want to be the person that maybe got to sit and read a book and
Yeah.
enjoy herself and just have a glass of wine in the evening and relax? Or really the person that is sitting with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning reading and it's starting the day in a peaceful way as opposed to scrolling right away.
Yeah.
Figure out who do you want to be, get the information, and then create the plan according to the information that you have and do it slowly.
Yeah.
Do it slowly and intentionally.
Well, what I'm hearing too is I sometimes hear people like, well, that's not a problem for me. I'm not that distracted when I do it or whatever. But
Mhm.
the awareness piece is the key. So
Yep.
if you don't think it's an issue, just like, okay, do it. But then at the end, like assess, be aware
Hmm.
of like, how are you feeling? Like,
Yeah.
I know there's days where as like something comes up and I'm like already in my inbox and then it, and I get done and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am like my
Yeah.
heart is racing. I already feel like I'm behind. I'm a little overwhelmed because my list
Hmm.
now got shoved off. Just be aware of
Yeah.
how your body responds, how
Oh, yeah.
all that because that is it's information.
Hmm.
Just like information on like how long did you spend on, these apps? It's
Right?
information. What are you going to do with the
Yeah.
information? Use it
Yeah.
to be more productive. Use it to prioritize what you really want because really
Hmm.
it's focus and intention.
Absolutely. The thing I typically will make my clients when we start working together and it's so surprising to them, right? I will ask them to do a time assessment to just not necessarily change of anything, but that they keep a piece of paper next to their desk and
Mhm.
every 15 minutes they're writing what they're working on. And at the
Mhm.
end of the week, we look at it and we think, huh, I didn't realize, right?
Yeah.
And there's no shame. It's not to say, okay, I ended up opening my phone and went and started playing whatever, Word
Yeah.
with Friends, and it's not about shaming. It's just so you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because then you can make it aware. I keep my phone next to me, but my notifications are not on. And I actually turn it around so that I don't even see the screen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's been just that little switch
Hmm.
help
Hmm.
me to really be more in the moment, to
Yeah.
be more present, to not be switching from different things.
Right, right. Because we can get worn out. Like you said,
Hmm
17 minutes to get back in the flow. We think that we're good at this stuff,
hmm
but we're not because part of our attention, and then we kind of forgot our flow of thought process, what we are going to do. Kid interrupts, the notifications go off, but we're not in that flow. And if we have to understand, like, what does it feel like to be in that flow?
hmm hmm
And then to be interrupted.
Yeah. I love flow. It's such a great state to be
Yes.
because then you're in that moment that it's your sweet spot. And guess
Mhm.
what? When you're in that sweet spot, you're like, "Oh, that feels good." Then it allows you to keep showing up and doing the thing that not only you're good at, but feels good, but it's also
Mhm.
creating an impact and making you forward, making you move forward.
Right, right. And I feel like this being in control, it's kind of like the
Mhm.
feeling in control because when you're in control of your schedule, when you're in control of your attention, I feel like that gives you more confidence
Mhm.
in your
Absolutely.
ability to handle things.
Mhm. Yeah,
So it all kind of
100%.
weaves together.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
if we want more confidence, show up for ourselves. Be aware
It's the
of
first place where you can control. You can't control how somebody else is going to give you confidence. You can't control what somebody else is thinking and feeling and saying about you or to you.
Right.
You can show up and have control over how you want to be,
Mhm.
who you want to be, and what you say to yourself to get there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just it's kind of simple, but it's not always easy to do.
Oh, I know. That's why we have to practice and be willing to be beginners, Peggy.
Yes, yes. Beginners is not a bad thing. I mean, we
No,
are
not
open,
at all.
like, oh, new things, new strategies, what's working for me,
Hmm
being open with that and just being like, hey, I'm just going to be aware of how I respond to this,
hmm Yeah.
what this does for me. I'm just going to use the
Mm.
information as as a way to just kind of see how things are working or not working.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were speaking, I was thinking about something that happened earlier, and I mentioned I launched a new podcast. Now,
Mhm,
Casa de Confidence had been my staple podcast. I've been doing it for 5 years.
mhm,
My husband is a producer. He does all the things. All I do is show up and talk, right? Now, with this new podcast, I decided to do an experiment and really to start from the beginning, just like anybody who's
mhm.
launching a podcast, because we do have many clients who we help in launching and growing a podcast.
Yeah,
I wanted to see what it was like just to
yeah.
start from scratch. And I do everything for the podcast production, you name it. And I recorded a few episodes because one of the things that I
Mhm.
teach clients is you want to batch your
Yep,
content.
yep.
I went ahead and I started to go through to edit. And I found there were so many ums and uhs and filler words. It was driving me crazy. And I thought, I'm terrible at this. And immediately I said, no, Julie, you're a beginner at this because you haven't done this podcasting in the way that you're doing it.
Mhm.
Where in your other podcast, you are doing interviews, you're talking to people, and when it does need to be edited, you have an editor that just takes care of it magically. Now you're doing it. So now you're becoming aware of what you are doing and you have the power to change that.
Yes.
And it's hard to be a beginner when you're especially a high achiever, but that beginner mindset is the thing that helps you to move forward and improve, honestly.
Yeah. And can you share just what you think a beginner's mindset looks like? And
Yeah,
because,
I love that. The typical internal dialogue when we are starting out at something and we fail or we don't do it. Oh, I suck at this, right? Oh, sorry. I don't know if I
yeah,
say that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
no,
suck at
no,
this.
that's
I'm
good.
terrible. Oh, Julie, what an idiot you are, right? Whatever dialogue you have internally, whatever it is, you have the things that you say to yourself. The
Mhm.
beginner mindset is you're not going to switch from Julie, you suck to, oh my God, you're Princess, wonderful person. Look how superstar you are. That's
Yeah.
not happening. Think of a ladder. You're
Mhm.
going to ladder your thoughts. You're going to level up. So when I start, right, and if I have something that I'm working on,
Mhm.
I fail or I'm not good at it or I don't hit the mark, I'll say, Julie, you're such a beginner. You're working at. I'm a girl who's starting to work on this. And
Mhm.
that's really finding the thing that fits the word.
Yeah, yeah,
Excuse me.
exactly.
Yeah, for
And it's
sure.
like the next step.
What
Okay.
is the next step?
What is,
Right.
what's that thing? Okay, I'm just beginning at this. What is one thing I could get a little bit better at? And then just taking it from there,
Hmm.
watering up.
Yeah, leveling up and think of a ladder, right? If
Hmm.
I'm going to tell myself you're you're getting better,
Hmm.
or wow, look how far I've come, because
Hmm.
that's the other
Yep.
piece, right?
Yep.
Where you think, oh, but I'm not there yet. Honey, look at how far you've
Hmm.
come. Before, you probably weren't even walking. You were probably just crawling.
Right.
So give yourself that. Oh, good job on crawling. Look at me. Or good job standing. I was a little wobbly, right?
Right. Right.
If we didn't get that as humans when we were growing up and learning to walk, we would all be crawling still.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is use the same way that you receive that positive reinforcement
Mhm.
and use it in your life daily.
Yeah. Now you just have to take in control of that, and you're the
That's
person
right.
that giving
Hmm.
it to your beginner self, because we're all
Absolutely.
starting out and different phases of our lives is a whole new
Yeah.
process. We haven't lived that yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to always kind of be thinking, hey, I'm new at this.
Hmm. Absolutely.
This
The newness, and I think that we get so excited when we are really into something new.
Mm-hmm.
And when that excitement, right, it goes back to that motivation.
Yeah.
When the excitement leaves and the thing is hard, then we're not going to do it. And this is why we want to start small. This is why we want to just move one incremental 1% better daily
Right.
so that it doesn't feel really hard. And then when you notice all of a sudden,
Hmm.
oh, wait a minute, look at me. I'm doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because we always have to go back and look at our wins. Like where did we start? Yeah.
Your to-dos. I did it. It's not your to-dos, it's your to-dos, my friend.
Yes. And also just not comparing yourself from your beginning to somebody's, seasoned
Yeah,
self. That's
absolutely.
the hardest
Hmm.
part. So where can people find out more about you, Go Confidently, your podcast? And you never mentioned the name of the new one. So what was
Oh, okay. So the best way for you to connect with me is going to be on my website, which is goconfidentlycoaching.com.
okay.
And my name, Julie DeLucca-Collins. I'm on all the other platforms, whatever it might be, under that, under my name.
Okay.
Now, Casa de Confidence is my baby with my husband that we've had 5 years.
Okay.
That's not only the name of the production company, but also of the podcast. And
Okay.
the new podcast is called Brave Moves Daily.
Nice. Nice.
Yep, and
Awesome.
it's less than 5 minutes at times, or a couple minutes to just give you that little 1% or that little piece of information that can help you create the brave moves to go confidently, right?
Yes, yes. And we all just need just a little smidget,
That's right.
everybody has 5 minutes, whether they're brushing their
That's right.
teeth, getting ready, carpooling to work, whatever. We all have that just a little bit of time to get that positive message of confidence
Mhm.
coming into our lives. So thank you so much. As we
You're
wrap up
welcome.
today, is there
Yeah.
anything that you've left unsaid or anything that you would like to leave the listeners with?
The biggest thing that I probably, want the listeners to know is that when you find the community, like for instance, your podcast, Peggy, this is the place where you can always know that you will find the resources, the support, and people are maybe 10 step ahead of you. But the most important thing when you're tuning into this podcast, make sure that you are also sharing it with other people, because a lot of times we think people have it all together or know it, but
Mhm.
perhaps you sharing an episode of Peggy's podcast with the world will make a difference in the lives of that person and will make a difference for all of us, right?
Mhm.
Positive solutions are sometimes things that we have to outsource to somebody else. So maybe be the source that somebody else can gain their positive solutions from.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that plug. And any
No, anytime
out
that I
there, we're just
it's the
anything.
truth.
It is. We have to share something that touches us, share it with somebody else because that is how we create a ripple effect of
Mhm.
positivity in this world. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Julie, for joining me today. I just enjoyed our conversation. Go check out goconfidentlycoaching.com. You'll find everything. You'll find two of Julie's podcasts and just listen in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Peggy.